Assalamualaikum and good evening to Madam Nuraliati. My name is Muhammad Sifaslim and today I'm going to talk about performance appraisal and management. So, what is performance appraisal? A performance appraisal is a systematic and objective method of judging an employee's quality of performance in his job. It is the process of gathering, analyzing and documenting information about an employee's relative value to the organization. Next, what is performance management? Performance management is a corporate management tool that allows managers to monitor and evaluate the work of their employees. The goal of performance management is to create an environment in which people can perform to the best of their abilities. It is designed to produce the highest quality work in the most efficient and effective manner. Step 1 of the performance management process. Performance standards are established to ensure that departmental goals and objectives, as well as the organization overall strategy and objectives, are met. Individuals are not held to the same standards as positions. Standards must follow the same rules as goals in order to be clearly understood and perceived as objective. That is, they must be SMART. Step 2. Performance standards must be clearly communicated and understood to be expectations in order to be effective. Because performance standards presume competence, initial and corrective training should be incorporated into the performance management process. It should also be communicated if there is a specific training period after which an employee is assumed to be competent. Step 3. Numeric performance such as cost, quantity, quality, and timeliness is relatively easy to quantify. Soft skill performance such as communication, customer service, and leadership is more difficult to access. Step 4. Actual performance is compared to performance standards at this stage of the appraisal process. Documentation should highlight actions and outcomes. For example, Amel left confidential documents on the printer despite being warned to keep control of confidential information. Or Amer's process improvement recommendation saved the department $3,500. Step 5. When there is a significant difference of opinions about performance, it can lead to an emotionally charged situation. The ability of the manager to remain calm and civil has a significant impact on the employee's confidence, motivation, and future performance. Prior to the appraisal meeting, management can request that employees complete a self-evaluation. Step 6. The final step in the appraisal process is to discuss and/or implement any recommended next steps. If the performance is such that termination is warranted, that action should be taken as soon as possible. Employees are expected to exceed their expectations. It is critical not to wait until the next formal appraisal. There are 3 uses of performance appraisal. The first one is to administering wages and salaries. The second one is to giving performance feedback. And the last one is to identify strengths and weaknesses. For performance appraisal program, there are 2 types of appraisal program. The first one is administrative. Under administrative is compensation, job evaluation, and the last one is EEO or AA supports. The second appraisal program is developmental. Under developmental, there are individual evaluation, training, and career planning. Purpose of appraisal program is to provide performance feedback, promote employees, recognize individual performance, help employees identify goals, validate selection, meet legal requirements, and etc. There is a few things that make the appraisal program fail, which are lack of top management information and support, unclear performance standards, rater bias, too many forms to complete, use of the appraisal program for conflicting political purpose.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Aisyah Binti Zarawasa, so I will continue with developing effective performance appraisal program. Performance should be based on job-related requirement that derive from job analysis and should reflect with job description and job specification. To achieve performance standard, there are few things that can be established by the management. The first one is by using a SMART goals. SMART goal can help in improving the performance of employee as well as to remove the revokeness and subjectivity of performance review. SMART is acronym for 5 elements which is specific, measurable, attainable, realistic and time-based. Next is strategic relevance, which relating the two elements between performance standard with strategic objective of organizations. Criterion deficiency and criterion contamination, where deficiency when focusing on single criterion to exclusion of other important elements, but they are less quantifiable in performance dimension. And false criteria contamination, where the factors are out of employee control that can influence their performance. Under reliability, management use a process called calibration to make sure managers are rating employees consistently. For fairness and acceptability, these two can affect the performance management system. Next is the sources of performance information in performance management. The employee performance can be evaluated from several sources of performance information. There are 8 sources of performance information, which is managers or supervisor. The second one is peers, suppliers, customers, subordinate, self, vendors, and the last one is team members. For training appraiser, in order to increase performance review process, training appraiser can improve the accurateness of rating review from the rater. By establishing the review plan systematically, the raters will be aware about the company objective of performance management and others important things need to be highlighted so that the raters can know how important the performance review for organizations. Also, the training appraiser can eliminate the error. The common error in rating process is error of center tendency, leniency or strictness error, false distribution, recency error, contrast error, and similar to me error. And the last one from the training appraiser is the feedback training from training program for raters. It is to provide performance feedback to employees. The last one is the benefit of effective performance management toward employee and organizations. For employee, it will help reducing stress and have a better understanding whether regular feedback and a consistent can establish performance review process to improve relationship between employer and employee, enhance communications and also reducing the stress. Employee will have a clearer understanding of expectations and how their performance is affecting the overall business experience, will have a less stress and be more engaged in their day-to-day work. For enhanced skills, the coaching and training can help employee in enhancing their skills, where skills can lead for a greater success in their current job or also in the future. For high morale, increased moral and positivity can lead to more productive work culture and reduce certain issues that management would otherwise have to address. Promotions possibility, where the management would be able to regularly see a high performance for employees and be more likely to promote them to a higher position. For organizations, the benefits of effective performance management is to have a better documentation and reduce risk. Complying with law and help analyzing company performance. For better productivity, the organizations can address and react better if they find any weakness or if the employee is lack in certain issue, they can provide training or any possible activities as a reflections of performance management process, and it will create a good team in the organization with a better productivity. identify and promote high performance, rather effective performance management of the employee. Organization can rely on performance review to promote the employee. Also, recruiting internally. It may be able to save on recruiting costs. Additionally, employee would feel valued and recognized, are likely to stay on board with the company. Better overall business performance. All the above benefits contribute to better performance within the business overall. Employees that are thriving will deliver better work and will be more motivated to try new things and keep progressing. This highlights the importance of performance management and the value that it will bring to the entire organization when it is done correctly.
Assalamualaikum, I am Nushaira binti Rusdi. I will present about performance appraisal methods and interview. Performance review methods can be broadly classified as measuring traits, behavior or result. Trait methods are designed to measure the extent to which an employee possesses certain characteristics such as dependability, reactivity, initiative, and the leadership that are viewed as important for the job and the organization in general. There are 4 approaches. First, in the graphic rating scale method, each employee is rated according to a scale of individual characteristics. Second, mixed standard scale method. The rater is given 3 specific randomly sequenced descriptions of each trait, and then supervisor evaluate employees by indicating whether their performance is better than, equal to, or worse than the standard for each behavior. Third, false choice method. It is required the rater to choose from statements designed to distinguish between successful and unsuccessful performance. Fourth, the essay method requires the rater to write a description of the employee's performance and make recommendations for his or her development. The second type of performance appraisal method is behavioral approaches. It provides more action-oriented information to employees and may be the best for development. First one is critical incident method. It is an unusual event that denotes superior or inferior employee performance in some part of the job. The manager keeps a log or diary for each employee throughout the appraisal method and notes specific critical incident related to how well they perform. Next, the behavioral checklist method requires the rater to check statements on a list that describe characteristics of the employee's behavior. After that, behaviorally incorporating scales, bars. This method consists of a series of vertical scales, one for each dimension of job performance, typically developed by a committee that includes both subordinates and managers. Behaviors observation scales, which is known as BOSS, a performance appraisal that measures the frequency of observed behavior. This method is preferred over bars because of its maintaining objectivity, distinguishing good performance from poor performance, providing feedback, and identifying the training need. The last one is the result-oriented method. It is focused on the measurable contribution that employees make to the organization. The first one is the productivity measures. It is based on quantitative measures such as sales volume that directly link what employee accomplished to result beneficial to the organization. And the second one is management by objective, known as MBO, a philosophy of management that rates performance on the basis employee achievement of a goal set by mutual agreement of employee and a manager. There are 3 basic types of format for providing feedback during a performance review meeting or feedback session. First, tell and sell. The skill required in this format include the ability to persuade an employee to change his or her behavior in a certain way. This requires a manager to skillfully use motivational and persuasive techniques to try to change the behavior. Second, tell and listen. In this format, the supervisor communicates the strong and weak points of an employee's job performance during the first part of the session. During the second part of the session, the employee's feelings about the review are truly explored. The last one is problem solving. This format is the most proactive because listening, accepting, and responding to feelings are essential elements of it. It focusing the interview on problem resolution and employee development. Performance appraisal can bring positive effect to the organization by following the guidelines. The first one is ask for self-evaluation. It is to ensure that the employee knows against what criteria he or she is being evaluated. The second one is invite participation. Most experts advise supervisors to encourage their employees to speak freely and listen closely to what they have to say because we know that communication is a two-way street. And the third one is express appreciation. Because praise is a powerful motivator and employees are seeking positive feedback. It is frequently beneficial to start the session by expressing appreciation for what the employee has done well. Fourth, be supportive and demonstrate that you care. One of the better techniques for engaging an employee is for the manager to ask, "What can I do to help?" By being open and supportive, the manager conveys to the employee that he or she will try to eliminate roadblocks and will work for the employee to achieve a higher standard performance. After that, minimize criticism. Even the most stoic employees can absorb only so much criticism before they start to get defensive. If an employee has many areas in need of improvement, a manager should focus on the issues that are most problematic or most important to the job. Next is to establish goals for the next performance management cycle. Lastly, follow up day to day. A better approach is to have informal talk periodically to follow up on the issue that were discussed. This puts manager in more of a coaching role versus that of a judge.